Welcome back. Joining us now, Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. He's a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He, along with his 99 other colleagues, have been sitting there listening to the president's team defend his conduct. Senator, first of all, your reaction to the news broken first in the New York Times that apparently the National Security Advisor, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, has a manuscript that will be published in March in which he says he learned from the president in a conversation last August that it was a direct quid pro quo, that the Ukrainians would only get their $400 million in security aid if they agreed to do these investigations into Democrats, including the Bidens. What's your response?
Well, that's the smoking gun. That's what the Senate has to hear. That's what Republicans have to demand is brought before the Senate in the trial. Obviously, John Bolton has first-hand knowledge of what the president thought, what he wanted to have happen on his behalf, that is withholding of the aid to Ukraine unless there was an investigation of the Biden family. He has first-hand knowledge. He took notes on the meetings. All of that should be made available now to the Senate. Donald Trump is on trial. And for us, we know that a trial is a search for the truth. And John Bolton is as close to the truth that we've been able to reach thus far. And if we don't have him as a witness, then it will be nothing more than the effect of having a cover-up that protects Trump from accountability for what he was telling his own top officials.
The president's defenders have not mentioned this news development that broke last night. They've talked about Hunter Biden. They've talked about Joe Biden. They've talked about Barack Obama. You know the 53 Republicans that serve with you in the Senate. Does the fact that they are ignoring this incredibly relevant development in the story, would that alienate them, or would they not care because they're just on President Trump's team?
Well, we've already heard that Susan Collins and Mitt Romney are very interested in hearing from Bolton. That's in the room right now. That's part of this trial. And the fact that none of the president's defense team mentioned John Bolton today doesn't mean that it isn't looming as the cloud over this trial if the Republicans, 4 of them, refuse to call him as a witness. Otherwise, this entire trial will be viewed as a historical joke, in fact, because we did not question that one person who could illuminate what Mulvaney was thinking, what Pompeo was thinking, and most importantly, what the president was thinking when that money was being withheld from the Ukraine.
Senator Markey, it's Wolf. Some of your Republican colleagues, Pat Toomey, for example, they're suggesting a witness swap. Let's say John Bolton comes and testifies, but they want to be able to call someone else, let's say Hunter Biden, as a witness as well. 1 for 1. The Democrats, the Democrat House managers can have a witness, but the president's lawyers, they want to have a witness as well. Would you go for that?
Hunter Biden is not on trial. Hunter Biden actually doesn't know anything about any conversations in
Well, you just heard the
Oval
president's lawyers, 2 of the president's lawyers, spend 2 hours explaining why Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and Burisma were so important to the president, why he raised that issue with President Zelensky of Ukraine.
Look, what the Republicans tried to do today was to distort, to distract, to deny anything that the president did by not even talking about it. So this is clearly an attempt to feed red meat to their base, but also red herrings to take us away from the central issue. And as a witness, Joe Biden would have nothing to illuminate the Senate with regard to any of the actions which the president took in order to extract an investigation of the Bidens in return for $391 million worth of security aid. Joe Biden's not on trial, Barack Obama's not on trial, Hunter Biden's not on trial, and they don't know anything about this case. And that's what the Republicans are trying to do, to try to distract, take our attention away from the central issue, and hope that it goes away. But John Bolton's not going away. This is going to loom larger and larger as each day goes by this week. Will there be 4 Republicans willing to stand up to ensure that we have a full and fair trial? Right now, we know 2 are willing to do so. Are there 2 more senators out of the remaining 51 willing to stand up for a trial?
So you're basically rejecting Senator Toomey's proposal?
Well, it has to pass the test of relevancy. This is a trial about Donald Trump, and there is no relevancy to any of the testimony which Hunter Biden could provide about the actions of Donald Trump. It would be completely and totally irrelevant.
Senator Markey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.